Since Mark Carney took office, our GDP has contracted in 3 of the last 4 quarters. And last quarter became the 5th consecutive quarter of declining business investment. Investment has dropped every single quarter Mark Carney has been Prime Minister. Why is it that our economy is doing so much worse than other G7 economies? Why is it that we have the worst housing costs in the G7, the worst household debt in the G7, the second highest unemployment in the G7, a third higher than in the United States? Well, the answer is we have the same Liberal policies as we did a year ago, despite all illusions. These are not just statistics. Every quarter of declining economic activity means people losing sleep over their bills, struggling to fill their fridges, worrying they'll lose their jobs. That's why the United Way reported this week that 60% of Canadians feel like personal anxiety about their finances. 38% of Canadians live in food insecurity. 1 in 5 reporting that there were times in the last year when they had run out of food in their homes and had no money to buy more. 34% know someone who's experienced poverty, up 5%, and 22% of Canadians have said they have experienced poverty. Full-time workers in Kitchener live in RVs parked in carpooling lots after a year of Carney. One senior in Richmond now sleeps inside a Tim Hortons after a year of Carney. A New Brunswick man skipped surgery in February because he couldn't afford to miss work after a year of Carney. Dazzling overseas speeches and fake agreements won't put food on tables, money in bank accounts, or gas in tanks, nor will $200,000 on in-flight catering. Mark Carney has made a club of Liberal insiders, lobbyists, and corporate power brokers fabulously rich while making everyone else poor. The illusion of Mark Carney is now colliding with the reality. He's been wrong on every major issue. Wrong on pushing carbon taxes, wrong to write in his book that we should leave half our oil in the ground, wrong to testify against pipelines to the Pacific, wrong to predict that COVID would lead to declining prices and deflation, wrong to support money-printing deficits that led to the inflation crisis. It's not enough to blame the rising cost of living on overseas issues. Under the Harper government, we had 2 wars in the Middle East, 1 in Ukraine. Oil prices were higher than they were today, and yet here at home, gas prices were 33% a litre cheaper. Gas is also 10% cheaper in the U.S. right now, even though they face the same global factors. That's why Conservatives are calling for an end to gas taxes for the rest of the year, saving Canadians 25 cents a litre, $20 a fill-up, and $1,200 between now and the end of the year. Since the Liberals took office in 2019, the cost of a used vehicle has doubled. Since 2019, that's now, we're talking 6-7 years ago, there's been a doubling of the price of a used vehicle, from $18,900 to $36,700 in March. Another example of Liberal inflation. In fact, the surging prices went so high that Statistics Canada had to create a separate item to track in 2022 before they just used the new vehicles as a proxy. Almost every Canadian needs a truck or a car, and most people of modest means rely on used vehicles to save some money. Yet the government imposes double, triple, and sometimes even quadruple taxes on the same vehicle. When someone buys a car new, they pay the tax. When it's resold as used, the new buyer pays the tax again. If it's sold a third time, it's paid, that tax is paid. It could be 5 times in a row of federal sales taxes on the same vehicle. The endlessly repeating tax on used cars is a tax on the working poor, on low-income seniors, and on small businesses. That is government greed, and greedy government makes for poorer people. Conservatives are fighting to restore affordability here at home, and that's why Conservatives are announcing MP Andrew Lawton's bill to scrap the sales tax on used cars altogether. The principle is that the GST should only apply once at the final sale and never again. Scrapping the tax on used cars will save you $1,835 on the average used vehicle, Or take this beautiful truck behind me. You would save $3,800 on this used vehicle if you purchased it with the Conservative tax cut. We will also urge provinces to eliminate their share of the HST on vehicles that have already been sold. All this builds on our existing plan to save our auto industry by ending sales tax on Canadian-made automobiles, and it follows our Conservative plan for a dollar-for-dollar principle so that this tax cut will not increase the deficit. We would match it by eliminating the ALTO bill, the $90 billion taxpayer-funded Liberal ALTO boondoggle. Just for context, the Liberals have budgeted to spend $900 million a year on average for the next 4 years, not building ALTO, just studying it. Nearly $1 billion a year on lobbyists, researchers, activists, bureaucrats and consultants to study and not build. Conservatives have a different approach. So here's the trade-off. You want to spend $1 billion a year on studies, or do you want to use that money to reduce your cost of a used car by $2,000? Conservatives choose the latter. We choose your savings for your wallet, for your vehicle, for your family. This tax cut will boost our economy and help local dealerships like this one hire more people. It will help tradesmen get trucks to go to work, students to get their first car, single moms to replace their broken down minivan with something that might work better to get their kids to school and soccer. It will help seniors buy a car to visit their grandchildren or go on retirement road trips. By lowering the cost of government, we'll lower your cost of living to leave more fuel in your tank and more money in your account. One way we'll help make Canada affordable here at home, with jobs here at home and self-reliance here at home. Thank you very much.